All right, welcome everybody. We're so glad that you're here. We're so excited for tonight's webinar, and I'm going to just give it right to our hosts, Sarah Flake and Marci Crawford, our health coaches tonight leading, and take it away, ladies.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Flake. I am so excited to be here tonight and really excited to have so many people on. Before we even get started, if you can, please grab a paper and pen. We're going to be going through a lot of information tonight, and I want to make sure that you leave this feeling equipped so that you're not feeling overwhelmed, but I'm really excited about this topic. I am going to get started by showing you guys some different areas that you can control. So let's take a look at that first slide, Amber. All right, so first of all, looking at these three areas, this encompasses most of our life areas. Your healthy body, whether that's your weight, your eating, your sleep, your activity, your healthy finances, is that your job, your ability to take vacations, resources to help other people, and then of course, healthy mind. How do you deal with your interpersonal relationships, your spirituality? How involved are you with your community? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is your first thing, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate yourself? 1 the worst, 10 the best in each of these areas? Take a moment and think about that. All right, now also on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to think about how much control you feel like you have in each one of these areas. And I'm curious, put a yes or a no in the chat. Does your amount of control relate at all to your amount of health that you have in any of these areas? So tonight we want to just challenge the way that you understand control. We want to give you some big strokes and some small strokes about how to understand this, how to have more of it. And so to kick off, I'm going to send you over to my friend Marci, who I've known pretty much the whole time I've been in this community, to start digging into this topic.
Thanks so much, Sarah. I'm coaching now for over 7 years with Sarah, and it's been quite the journey. And I love these three areas of health. And it's so important as we talk about these three areas of health. We really want to talk tonight a little bit more about creating the healthier mindset. And within Optavia, we talk about becoming conscious in our lives. And in creating consciousness, we talk about this as binary model, this line, as you will. And we talk about at any point in time in our lives, we're living our life either above or below the line. And one is not bad or good. Sometimes it's really just a preference of where we are. So when we are below the line, typically we're defensive, we're committed to being right, we're closed, and we're kind of in a tuning state. Like everything is happening to me. We find ourselves oftentimes in like the drama triangle, playing the victim, the hero, the villain. But then the reverse is being above the line. And so when we're above the line, we're open, we're curious, and we're committed to learning. So I want you to think, and I don't want you to like, oh no, I'm always here. Like there's no blame, shame in either area, because there's wonderful learning opportunities in both areas. And honestly, more important than being above or below the line is knowing where you're at. So I actually want you to take a second right now and check yourself. Like, where are you right now? Do you feel like you're more above the line? Like, oh, I'm really curious, I'm really committed to learning, I'm open? Or do you kind of like, oh, my wife made me join this, or my husband, my friend totally made me get on here. There's nothing that they can share that I can learn. So they kind of fill that out. And all of us during the day, we are consistently moving up and below the line. So I'm curious, where do you feel like you spend most of your time? Above or below the line? In fact, you can put in the chat thread if you feel. There's no judgment here, because honestly, I'm probably 50. I want to say 60-40. I'm still working on playing above the line. In fact, within Optavia, one of our transformational leadership habits that we talk about is that we take responsibility and we play above the line. And I think it's so important that as if you really want to find yourself living more above the line more often, the first step to doing that is taking 100% responsibility for where you are in all areas of life and recognizing that. Because when we're shifting and we're blaming and everything's happening to me, woe is me, we're shifting that control to someone else rather than saying, oh yeah, I have the control. So, and just to share a little bit about my story, as Amber changes the slide, the first two photos on there, I was at a point in my life where I really felt like I was in that to me state. Everything was happening to me. Those two photos were taken after my husband had been in a wheelchair for 6 months. And it was a really hard time in my life. I had had a 2-year-old, and during those 6 months, I had been pregnant with baby number 2. And we had lived in a basement apartment, and I had spent, remember those days in that basement apartment helping my husband pick up that wheelchair and bring it up the stairs. And I just felt like everything was happening to me. And not only was everything happening to me, but I remember just eating my emotions. And like, oh, I just had no control. I felt like I had no control over anything that was happening in my life. And I was in a really, like, when we talk about healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finances, I was a 0 and negative impact in all of those areas. And I was so grateful, you know, it's been 7 years ago when Optavia came into my life. And I was so grateful for the tools I learned to create a healthy body. I ended up losing 35 pounds in just no time at all with our Nursing Mothers program. You know, losing weight is great, but that was 7 years ago. And, you know, having the tools and the knowledge to how to do that, that's what's a game changer. And also having that mindset. And to me, what Optavia taught me is that I now can look back on that experience and I see how it was for me. And it has given me an opportunity to be curious and see how that was actually an opportunity for me to learn that although I may have been living the majority of the time below the line, it was also a great learning opportunity.
Marci. I have known Marci from when she first joined this community years and years ago, and it has been so lovely to struggle with her, to celebrate with her. We've been on this journey together, and I love hearing that story. So thank you for sharing, Marci. All right, so let's talk about choice. You know, like Marci's talking about, taking 100% responsibility. So I want to ask you guys, what in your life do you feel like you have to do? Is there something you feel like you should do or you need to be doing? Really think about it. What do you have to do in this life? Keep kids alive. That's a good one. So here's something. Your brain is a liar a lot of the times. Your brain is just a liar, okay? So if you're struggling with feeling out of control, take a moment and notice the thoughts in your head. What is your brain telling you you have to do, that you should do, that you need to do? And anyone who knows me knows this is a topic I am very passionate about, because I used to live in this zone of responsibility to something else, to something bigger than me. But let me tell you something, any thoughts that are based on have to, should, need to, they are based on lies. You do not have to keep your kids alive, Amber. Other moms don't. You do not have to do the laundry, Matt. Oh, Bonnie wants to prepare for her future hubby. That sounds like something she wants to do. These are great comments. So, but let me tell you, any thoughts that are based on should, have to, need to, look for those words. Notice when they pop up and challenge that. Do you have to do the laundry? Or is it something that you want to do, that you get to do, that you choose to do. So we're going to talk about how to make the mental shift to give yourself more choice and more control with that. So anytime you notice a thought that is have to, need to, should, they give you this false sense of responsibility. They're based on negative self-talk, and they're basically, you're talking to yourself like you're some petulant child. You have to go do the laundry. And you know what? Because your brain recognizes that you don't actually have to do the laundry, the first thing your very logical, intelligent brain says, oh yeah, I don't have to. Watch me sit on the couch all day and eat ho-hos. And you're going to naturally want to rebel and not do that thing. So it's really important to start noticing these false thoughts. For me, I kind of equate the relationship when my brain starts giving me commands and telling me what I have to do, what I need to do, then I start feeling like it's a jail guard and a prisoner. I have this really kind of fractious relationship in my head, and it's not productive and it's not healthy, and there's a lot of negativity. So any should to, need to, have to thoughts take away your power to choose. They take away your autonomy. They make you feel trapped. They make you feel like you don't have a choice. So being healthy, yep, I'm seeing some good comments here. Thank you, you guys. So it creates black and white thinking. It creates, there's only one way to do things. And like Marci showed us with the above and below the line, that is below the line thinking. It's going to shut you down. It's going to make you feel scared and trapped and take away your breath. So when you hear those thoughts, challenge yourself and instead ask, what do I want to do? What do I choose to do? What do I get to do? Is there another reason why you're doing that laundry? Is it because you like not smelling like a barn animal when you go out with your friends? Is it because you like to serve the people that you live with? Is it because it feels nice to get things done? Is it because you don't want to have your guests walking over dirty socks? Is that a choice you're making on purpose? So stop and identify why you're really doing those things. Take your choice above the line. There aren't right and wrong choices. There's no one way to do it. It gets you into a creative, playful state where suddenly you have lots of different options. Give yourself that choice. Now, here's something else I've noticed. Sometimes people put themselves into want to, need to, have to place because they're afraid of choices. Have you ever gone to a restaurant with someone like Cheesecake Factory and open up the menu and it's like a Bible and you get overwhelmed by choices and you shut down and you hand it to the person next to you and say, you just pick for me, right? That's kind of what happens sometimes with our day-to-day choices. So if you find that you're someone who just is avoidant to choices, you might be more prone to this. So it's okay to have choices. Get comfortable with giving yourself options. I experienced this recently with a client, and you know, it was a part where there was a choice that needed to be made, and the client shut down and was like, "Oh, I'm just not going to do anything." And it's okay. It's okay. Let's get used to having these choices. And it takes practice. It will challenge you. But I'm curious if you guys have noticed for yourselves these want to, need to, have to thoughts coming up. So let's see. Now, learning how to not be scared of those choices is an important skill. And just make sure that you're not self-patronizing yourself. You be your boss, okay? There's no one else running your life for you. So I'm gonna turn this over to Marci. She's gonna talk about the business that we're into.
Yes, Sarah, thank you so much. And I'm really hoping, as I've changed over to my phone, that my volume is a little bit better.
It sounds way better, Marci. It sounds good.
Good. All right. So anyways, I love this area and I love this quote. So I could only find 3 kinds of business in the world. And I actually think there's only 3 areas that we really try to control, right? My world, your world, and God's, or you can say the universe. Much of our stress comes from mentally living out of our business. Whose business are you in? Think about that. In fact, I want you to put in the chat thread here. So sorry, I'm looking at my computer, but I want you to look at the chat thread and write in the chat thread some areas you're trying to control right now. What are you trying to control right now? Yeah, I see some. I'm going to be reading some of these. My eating better, my school, some of those things that my kids' school board, yeah. And what happens when we take that focus and we put it in those areas that we really have no control over, right? What does it do to us mentally? It's exhausting. when we spend that energy in places and in areas we have no control over. So I want you to think about how can we let go of that control? Because that's not a natural thing, right? Like letting go of control is not an easy thing because we all, in one way or another, want to hold tight to that. In fact, I actually think about my husband. When we first got married, if anyone who knows my husband and I, he has a tendency to like be gone all of a sudden. He's like, he can vanish. He's like kind of a magician. He can leave and we'll all be like, where'd James go? And where'd he go? And it would irritate me so bad. I remember my thoughts would be like, is it not important enough for him to be here right now? And I would get so frustrated and I would think of those thoughts, and because I couldn't control the fact that he wasn't right there when I felt like he should be, right? I was shooting on him of where he should be. And I really struggled with this for years. And I remember one time my sister a few years ago, she's like, well, what if James is exactly where he wants to be? And that's okay. And it was a thought I hadn't thought of before. Like, what if he's exactly where he wants to be? And you know, for the last year, whenever we have family get-togethers or whenever we're doing something and I have someone ask me, hey, where'd James go? My answer is always, he's exactly where he wants to be. And you know what? I have had zero anxiety because my thoughts, what I chose to think when I didn't know where he wasn't, he should be here. I'm so nervous. Da, da, da. I chose to focus on, hey, he's exactly where he wants to be. And it was a total game changer for me, and just choosing to change that thought and let go of the need to control. And so I love this slide that Amber had put up about focus, because what we focus on, that's where our energy flows, you know. And I love this, stay in my own business is a full-time job. Whose business are you in? So I hope, take some time today and think about, if my energy is focused so much on something I can't control, maybe what's some thought work you can do or some thoughts you can change to help you shift and move forward. So I'm going to turn the time over to Sarah. Go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, yes, I love this. When I first learned about this 8 years ago, it explained so much for me of why I had social anxiety, why I was upset at everyone all the time, why I was always yo-yo dieting. So let's talk for a second about expectations. What do you expect from life? You know, Marci expected James to be around, and how is that working out? How do you expect your country to be run? How do you expect the local school board to handle a crisis? When do you expect to have a vaccine? You know, what are your expectations for how your mother-in-law is going to treat you? So let's see. Now, when you have expectations, we need to take a look at if they're small and rigid and only allow a few things, or if they're wide. Basically, the more rigid your expectations are, the fewer outcomes that you allow to be possible, the less in control you are going to feel. So yes, I did go there with mother-in-law. So think about what your expectation squares are. What's an area that you've been struggling with or you're feeling out of control with? Have you thought about what you're allowing to be possible in that area? Like, let's talk about the example of schools. You know, some people are really upset because they want only one thing and they want it now and it has to be a certain way, and anything other than that, they're going to be upset. Other people are handling it a little more hands off, and you're like, well, these different things can happen and I'm going to try to be flexible and I'm not really committing to it. The people who are more stressed out are the people who are giving fewer future options. So the idea with expectation squares is to look at it and think, if I added another outcome to this, could it still be okay? So looking at your expectation squares. Now, the smaller your square, the less things we allow ourselves to anticipate, the more likely we are to feel out of control. So Now, there are some things though, there are some areas where it's okay to widen the square. In some areas though, we might not want to widen the square. Like, is it okay for me to say, you know, I could just eat all the sugar I want. Yeah, I could develop type 2 diabetes. That would be okay. There are some areas where we don't want to do that. And so at the point where you're not willing to widen the square, then we have to change some habits. Then we have to talk about behavioral change. So let's talk about that for a second. If we can pull up that next slide. When you are sick and tired of being sick and tired and you do not want to accept an outcome that keeps happening, let's break the chain. So anything that you feel like keeps happening, it is usually not just a single thing. It is usually the result of a long series of events that lead up to the culminating thing that you think is the problem. So talking about behavioral change, have you ever noticed that when you're on vacation, things are a little bit different? Maybe you're nicer to your kids, you get along better with your partner, you're less stressed, you exercise in the morning. Have you noticed that? And then I just came back from vacation and it was so funny because I had this great vacation, and within an hour of being home, I noticed I was getting back into all the same conversations and all the same mental things. And I was like, what's the deal? I was just on vacation. But it's because of these behavioral changes. So figure out what the habit is that you're trying to break and then reverse think it. Think about what led up to that. For me, as a former binge eater, I hadn't ever really thought about it. I just knew that between 10:30 p.m. and 5 in the morning, I would start eating and I couldn't stop. I would eat till the point of tears sometimes. I couldn't stop doing it. And I thought, this is just how I am. And when I learned about this program, when I learned about behavioral change, I started taking the moment to reverse the cycle. And I realized, well, I'm only doing this because I'm staying up late. And I'm only staying up late because I'm putting off work. And I'm only putting off work because I want to, I'm lazy in the morning. And I'm only lazy in the morning because I'm staying up late. And I realized it was just this chain. So look at all these different links in the chain. We grabbed a bag of cookies from the store, put them in the cupboard, got bored on a weekend, developed the urge to eat, went to the cupboard, saw the cookies. Now, at every point in this chain, there is a place we could have broken the reaction. The further down the chain you get, the less likely you are to break the reaction. So go as far back as you need to find that weak link. For me personally, I never shop without a list. I just don't even bring this stuff in my house anymore. So I try to break it right at that first link. Some of my clients, they have to have food in the house that is a trigger to them. So maybe they can hide it away. But some of them, maybe they can't hide it away and the kid is eating it right in front of them. So maybe they're going to plan some other activities. But the point of behavioral change is finding that weak link so we can start changing the behavior. Let's move on to the next slide, Amber. Okay, so when we talk about changing this behavior, this is a quote that I love. It's from Viktor Frankl, and it says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Now, the first time I read this technique, stop, challenge, choose, it seemed too good to be true. It seemed too simple to be true, but I was at my wit's end and I did not want to be where I was anymore. So I started practicing it, and it was rough at first. And it led me to realize a lot of things that I've been overeating with food, and I had to face a lot of things that I didn't want to face. And it was tough and it took practice, but this really works. So the idea behind stop, challenge, choose is when you reach a point on that behavioral chain that you want to change the outcome, you literally just stop. Like, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and just stop. And then challenge. Why am I feeling like this? Why is this happening? What's going on right now? Was there an emotion that caused this? Am I doing this because, again, like I bought the cookies and now they're there and I saw them? Am I feeling like I want to eat because I saw that? Now, this is the powerful part. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want to create? Now, there's a lot of science on this science of creating healthier outcomes. The key, when you're thinking about all your different choices, you could eat the cookies, you could go for a walk, you could eat a healthy snack. The key, though, to really creating a powerful change in this is attaching an emotion to the choice. If I eat this thing I don't want to eat, how will that make me feel? If I decide not to eat it, how will that make me feel? When you attach an emotion to a future outcome, your brain senses it more to be a reality in the now. The other key for this, first attach the emotion. The second key is to identify an immediate outcome. Sure, like you might want to stick with your eating plan so you can lose 50 pounds to look great for a wedding by October. But your brain isn't really going to care. Your brain is a now. Your brain is a nasty little child who wants what it wants, and it wants it now. So we have to talk to it like a child. We have to tell it what the immediate outcome is going to be. Not only will I feel empowered if I get a healthy snack, but I might be able to sleep better tonight. You know, that's going to be an immediate outcome. So think about the emotions and the immediate outcomes of all your different choices, and then you get to choose. And guess what? Do whatever you want. Eat the cookie. Don't eat the cookie. Go for a walk. You know, do jazzercise. It doesn't matter. At this point, you have created a mindful pause and you are doing exactly what you want. You are in complete control. So this is the beauty of this. It takes practice, but your mind is a muscle. And I promise you, like, this simple technique alone has helped me grow in so many areas. So close the gap between your choices. All right, go ahead, Marci.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I forget which phone I'm on. Sarah, you are a masterful teacher, and I just totally love hearing from you. So, sorry, my phone screen. Anyway, Sarah, I mean, put a 1, 2, 3 in the thread when you feel like, oh my goodness, I have learned, like, written down so many things. How many of you have been writing notes like crazy? Because I feel like I have. Yes. It's been so good. And I feel like a real important part to all of this and is what we do and offer within Optavia. So within Optavia, what we do is we have 4 main components that really help you to move your health forward. So first, is having a coach. Wow, having someone to ask you those questions. That when you feel like you're living below the line, that they can help you shift. And it is so, so powerful to have someone like a coach. They're not perfect, but they've typically been on the road. They're on the road too, and can help have that accountability. So having someone there to help you along the way is such, I know I still utilize my coach. She has been such a huge blessing to me. The second part of the program is all about the education. Everything you have heard tonight, we have learned because we have been studying Dr. A's Habits of Health and the Life Book. That information is vital because if you don't change the way you think, nothing truly changes. I want you to think about that. If you don't change the way you think, nothing truly changes. I hope tonight you've been able to shift in some of those areas and how you've been thinking. And the third part is this, our community. And hasn't this been so fun to have everyone to see? I've been watching the chat thread and seeing what everyone's feeling and being able to connect with others and like, oh yeah, I totally felt that too. Like, our community is amazing. And what's so fun, and Amber's going to talk more about some ways that you can get more involved in our community. And the fourth part about our program is healthy nutrition. You know, we have nutritional plans for all walks of life, no matter where you are, whether you are just wanting to gain more energy and need help in a maintenance phase, or maybe you are like, wow, I really have 5, 10, maybe 100 pounds I want to lose. We have nutritional plans for nursing mothers like myself, heavy exercisers, people with gout, diabetes. There's really so many options. So I really invite you to be curious. What might this look like for you? Contact the person who invited you to this webinar and find out what are some options that are for you that might help you level up in your health and take more control and where you're at in that way. And I'm going to have Sarah turn over the time to her for her to share her story.
I just want to wrap up. I mean, you guys can tell I get excited about this, but like, truly, I don't want anyone wasting their time. You know, if you're going to do it right. Do it all in. If you're going to make a change, make it last. And that means you take everything along. You take your whole heart, you do the education system, you reach out, you have accountability buddies. Like, don't waste your own time. Here's the thing. I had done every yo-yo diet out there, and I felt so stuck and so trapped. And when I found this program and community, I didn't even know what I was getting in with. I was just looking for another yo-yo diet because I had another event coming up. But I got this education system. You guys, your brain drives the car, okay? No matter what, no matter where you're going, it's your brain that's taking you there. So when I finally reached my goal weight with this program, I started getting that little voice back. And it was that same little question. It's like, oh, but what if it comes back? And I kept hearing that voice after I was at my healthy weight and I was maintaining. And finally I heard that voice and I said, no, it's different this time. This isn't what if it comes back. I have too much knowledge now, and I know that it's now my choice. In the past, it hadn't been my choice because I didn't have the skills and tools, but at this point, I knew too much. I'd had the education, and there were no more excuses. You guys remember the first time you got behind the wheel of the car and it was up to you? It's scary, but you're motivated to do it, right? So that's kind of what it was like for me. And for the first time, I allowed myself to say, I used to be that way, but now ... And I was willing to let myself explore the possibility of having a different outcome. And just that one little thought, I used to be that way, but now my past does not determine my future, and I'm willing to do the work. And it's been 8 years, and I've been able to maintain a healthy weight. I've been able to coach and mentor thousands of clients and coaches with helping them reach their goals and their dreams. And I wake up every day and I ask myself, what do I want to create? Not what's going to happen, not, oh, I wonder what today's going to do. It's like, what do I want to create today? Where do I want to pour my energy? So I really want to just encourage you guys. Oh, wait, hold on. I had some final thoughts here. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a quote from Dr. A, from our education system, that I really wanted to read to you. When people ask me what I do, I tell them I teach people how to live on purpose, because that is the point. That is where peace comes. In our education system, Dr. A says, the ability to put your mind where you want, whenever you want, for as long as you want, is one of the most powerful skills you can master in your life building process. Nothing even comes close when it comes to being able to really take control of your life. It is the master habit that sets up unlimited possibilities with all areas you'd like to make a change in. It's the mental gym, and you got to be willing to go daily. Now, no, the desire is never enough. If you have the desire and you don't have the skills and tools, you will feel even more out of control. Take your desire and find a plan. Find a mentor, talk to a coach, talk to the person who invited you. Let them know what you want and see if they've got any skills or tools or support. Really put it into action, because that's where you're going to start finding control, which leads me into our amazing challenge, where we're really trying to help people learn this, give them community. And I'm going to let Amber explain how that's going to work.
Okay, awesome job, ladies. Marci and Sarah, oh my goodness. Does anybody else feel like you have some new tools or more tools to really take control of your life, even just after that half an hour? I am loving it. Okay, so I want to just kind of kick off our fun habit challenge that's coming up. And we have some fun things going on right now. And it involves all of you guys, if you so choose. Many of you are already signed up. And basically, this is a free service for you to utilize. We are going to have a Facebook group. It's called Healthy Together. Some of you are already in the group. And this is where community is going to reside with the challenge. Now, this group, it is a group that already is in existence before the challenge, and it will be in existence after. But we are running our challenge right in that group. And if you're not on Facebook, that's okay. You can participate in the daily emails that you'll get. And in addition to the group, we're going to have a journal, a daily journal that you're going to be able to fill out what you eat, how much water you're drinking. It's going to build on itself. Then the next week, you're going to be journaling just a sentence of things that are coming in your mind. Then you're going to be adding some movement in your day. Then you're going to be working a little bit more on sleep. So all these just little tiny micro habits, and we're going to walk you through it day by day, week by week, until you have strung together 30 days. And I want you to really get clear on where you're at when you start on Monday. And then I want you to compare that to after 30 days in. And we want to see that small incremental change. We want to see you starting to work on those habits. We want to see you making those improvements that are going to be long-term. So in order to participate in the challenge, your coach or the person who invited you is going to send you a link and you're going to fill out a form. That's going to put you on the emails. Okay, you're going to get emails for 31 days. It's going to be fun. Then you're going to journal. That's part 2. And then at the end, and we're going to invite you to some webinars. 1 webinar a week. You're going to have the opportunity to comment on some posts in the Healthy Together group. And at the end, you're going to fill out a form if you participated throughout. Now, you don't need to be 100%. You don't need to do a weigh-in or anything like that. This is all about you creating those habits. Okay? At the end, you're going to fill out that form, and we're going to give away gift cards. We're going to give away Amazon gift cards or wellness credits towards starting your full program, whatever you desire. And we're just doing this as a free service to you. Now, a couple of questions, some FAQs. The first one we get a lot is, what do I need to eat? So we want you to fuel your body at regular intervals, make good, healthy choices, and we want you to connect with the coach who's inviting you to this challenge and do a health assessment. And he or she is going to match you up and tell you a little bit about what we can help you with. And if you have an eating plan that you are 100% happy with, you are getting the results that you want, you have the energy that you want, all the things, then, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? That's what I was always told. That's okay. You could be doing whatever eating plan suits you, but I'll tell you what, look into the program that your coach is going to offer you. Like Sarah said, why not dive in? Ours is based on medical-based research and to protect your body and also to get those results, especially when you add in the community and the education and plugging in with your coach. But you can do any healthy eating plan that's right for you, okay? It's not a requirement, to participate. So when you fill out that last form, that's what we're going to be using to be giving out these prizes. It's going to be lots of fun. We're going to make a big deal about who finished and who participated and who wins. And our goal with this is to spread the word on people being part of a community where healthy is the new normal. That's what we want. We want to be around others who are making good choices, who say, you know what, I want to get 7+ hours of sleep. You know what, I am going to drink water instead of the soda. That's what our community is going to strengthen each other. So I love that. So I want to end with this, that every journey starts with a decision. Are you ready to decide that your health is worth it? Are you ready to decide that you're going to invest in your own health? That might be an investment of time. That might be an investment of money. That might be an investment of brain power. Are you ready to make that decision and start your journey to optimal health? Because we're ready to welcome you in. So thanks so much, Sarah and Marci. You guys are amazing. Connect with the coach who invited you on the webinar tonight. Get that health assessment done. And we're so excited to see you Monday morning, bright and early in the Healthy Together group, starting our challenge off on the right foot in August. Thanks, you guys.